Good evening, y'all. Tonight, we are going to sit here around this campfire and talk about a good old-fashioned urban legend from down in the Pine Belt of Mississippi, just south of Hattiesburg in the small town of Purvis. According to some folks, there's a ton of paranormal activity here, but most of all, it's said a lady in white can be seen wandering along the road. A woman without a head. About 8 miles north of Purvis, Mississippi, the legend of the Headless Woman of Burnt Bridge has been passed down for generations. The old bridge itself has been replaced, but that hasn't stopped folks from believing that the hauntings resulting from a horrific tragedy on that bridge continue on this lonely road. It's said that not long ago, 2 young sweethearts were driving home from their school prom on a dark and stormy night. The rain and winds were so vicious and the night so dark that the young man lost control of the automobile and crashed his car on Burnt Bridge. The bridge was swallowed in flames, and while the boyfriend improbably survived, his beautiful young prom date was brutally decapitated. So according to local lore, if you venture out to the Burnt Bridge on a dark night, you might see the phantom prom goer wandering along the side of the road in her bloody white dress, purportedly searching for something, but most likely her head. Of course, according to the legend, you don't want to make the mistake of visiting in the middle of a storm, a night like the one when the young girl's life ended in tragedy. As some say, this headless ghost has been known to jump on the roof of passing cars. The headless prom-going ghost is said to have long fingernails that are strong as steel. One local claimed to have encountered her one night, purporting that after she jumped atop his vehicle, she used these long fingernails to effortlessly peel back the metal roof as if it were a simple can of sardines. Others claim that the apparition makes a terrible shrieking noise when she emerges from the darkness, and that these screams and horrific sobs echo the pine forests on dark Mississippi nights. Now, the legend of this apparition has made Burnt Bridge quite the travel destination over the years, and as a result, young men in the area began taking dates out there for a spooky thrill. But it didn't take long for some of them to regret it. One teenager told a reporter in 1980 that the bridge, quote, had a glow to it, no doubt a demonic one. He continued on, swearing that while there, he witnessed a head floating down the creek, and that its hair fluttered like white fire. Another resident of the area had a slightly different but no less scary experience. This local woman travels down Burnt Bridge Road often, going back and forth to work on it each and every day. But one night, as she traveled home in the dark, she saw a woman in a gown with long blonde hair, leaning on the rail, looking down into the water. The driver slowed down, worried that this individual may be contemplating suicide, but the woman merely disappeared. A similar experience was had by an older man in a Cadillac. The man and his wife actually stopped and picked up the girl from Burnt Bridge, even had a conversation with her in their car, but then she mysteriously disappeared. When asked, the gentleman said, quote, "I don't know what if I saw was a ghost, but I saw something that night." Of all these experiences, though, the creepiest comes from a woman who lives nearby. She and her boyfriend were fighting one night and he stormed off, so she hopped in her car and drove around looking for him. Unfortunately, she hit a nasty pothole near the bridge. She called her boyfriend for help, and he came, but as they stood outside the car talking, they heard a blood-chilling scream accompanied by a loud splash in the water. Scared out of their wits, The pair rushed back into their cars and drove away. But as the woman got into her vehicle, the windows fogged up and the temperature dropped. It got freezing cold in the middle of the summer. Then, as she looked up, she caught a glimpse of a horrific apparition in her rearview mirror. A woman's head with its mouth wide open, floating there without a body. The apparition had a blue glow around it, and its skin was the palest of whites. Of course, the driver screamed the whole way home as the head remained in the rearview mirror for the entire drive. Then, when she finally came home, she found the car's windows were still fogged and the metal was ice cold to the touch. As you can imagine, the burnt bridge was once one of the most haunted bridges in Mississippi, if not the South. But while the old structure is no longer there, it seems the spirit of this headless woman continues to travel it to this very day. My name is Brandon Schexnayder, and you've been listening to Southern Gothic.